Hey,
What's
how's
going
it going?
on?
Oh, there he is.
What's up with you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing good. How you doing, Marcus?
Yeah, just cooling. That's it. That's it. Pulled over for the session.
Okay, all right. Let's jump right in. Before we get started, I'm checking to see if Tamir is here. I don't see his name. All right. All right. Anybody have any progress that they need to report or any questions before I go into today's lesson? All right. So well, I want to go back to today. I want to discuss where we are in the grants calendar year. All right. All of you have a copy of the grants calendar. Um, and Mark, you can share with me, or one of the writers, share with me a copy of it. Um, but all of you have the grants calendar. I'm going to talk through it. I wrote it, so I have it in my head, but you all have it in your documents. And if we can know what time it is in the year, that you can know what to do right now and what to prepare for next. Okay. Now tomorrow I'm doing the in-person. Hey Tanya, how you doing? I volunteered you for something tomorrow or Thursday. So you got to look at your schedule. And I already told people you're going to be there. So you got to let me know what hour you can make it.
Okay, coach, I got you.
All right. All right. Tanya, if any of y'all need help, of course, she sets up not for profits and she's managing $1 million grants. Um, but she has made connections with the music industry, so she's helping entertainers set up their nonprofit organizations so that it can help them do what they're doing with schools. And she also was able to successfully have her events covered without any money out of her pocket. So her and Carlos up there teaming up in Chicago area. So that's Walmart, Humana, cell phone companies, blah, blah, blah. All right. So anyway, for the calendar year, if you can know what's coming up in the year, then you can know what's available right now and you can prepare for what's coming, what's going to be available next. So whenever we meet, when I meet with the grants intensive, uh, when I meet with the grants intensive, what we're going to do, we're going to be able in 2 days to cover a year's worth of grants. Some of them are going to be written totally in those 2 days, but others will be started, and we're going to show you how to repurpose and recycle those grants for the rest of the year. All right. So where we are in the grants calendar, January. It kind of starts in December. All right, it kind of starts in December. So I'll start in December. Uh, December is when major gifts are coming out. Major gifts. Major gifts is when people that need tax write-offs, people that are thinking they're warm-hearted during that time of year because of the holidays, whether it's Christmas or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah, they're warm-hearted. They're also looking at their finances for the last quarter and they're considering their tax liabilities. And so they're giving money as part of either they're giving money at the end of the year because they want the write off, because they care about the community, because they're affiliated with your program. And some of them are giving money right then. Others are planning to give money in the future. So they're deciding in December where they're going to pledge and give for the whole new year starting January. Now, I'm not a tax professional, and you can always consult tax professionals for your information and information that's verified. But in my experience, what I've seen is that during the month of December, people will look at their budget and give you what's left. And I don't mind receiving leftovers. There was actually a utility company that reached out to me and said, "Hey, we have some money that we need to give away." And they offered it to my nonprofit agency, and it was more than $10,000. And I was like, wow, that's great. And then they called back and said, well, you wasn't excited enough. We actually have more than what we thought. And so they were able to give that money in order to support programs, and it actually went very, very well. And I know that they were not only doing it because they cared about the community, but there was also some other element at play. Maybe it was the end of their fiscal year. Maybe they had taken in more donations or contributions or had more revenue. But if your non-for-profit is in place, then you can receive those funds. All right. And so major gifts happens in December. January is a time where people are planning for the year. And so this is when for some organizations, they treat it as a dead space. You should not be treating it as a dead space. In January, that's the time to let people know what your plan is for the calendar year. Now, this is the thing. I want you to pay close attention. Most of your nonprofits are on a July to June fiscal year. The fiscal year manages your finances. So January is not the beginning of your fiscal year. It is the beginning of your calendar year. All right. But when you're in business, and a non-for-profit is a certain type of business, what you want to do is ride the wave of what's going on. As people are making their New Year's resolutions, you can become part of their New Year's resolution. Do you want to let them know what your plan is for the year? Do you want to send out a Happy New Year's card to them? Do you want to be part of their resolution? Maybe they can make a resolution to give back to the community, or to somehow participate in a monthly way and take up your cause. Maybe it's $10 a month. One of you has a program where you take on members, and those members give $10 a month. Some of you might want to use that model as well. All right. But not only are you able to do that, but in January, you can let them know your plan for that calendar year. You don't have to have all of the dates confirmed, but you can let them know, hey, Why We Care Not-for-Profit has Christmas in July. Not only that, we have Santa's Helper in December. And you can take donations now for later in the year, or you can ask people, invite them to give small amounts. It can be any dollar amount. You can have it be $5. You get what I'm saying? It can be any amount. You appreciate everything that's coming. All right. February is when most banks are creating their new fiscal year. What? Now, I don't know, my eyes are crazy, but Vanessa, you almost look like my mama. She got her hair cut like that. Now, is your hair pulled back or is it cut?
It's cut.
Okay. Yep.
It's
That's my
cut.
mama's style. And it's Lord, this is I just keep talking to y'all off script, and this is horrible for recordings. Because somebody going to watch this and be like, man, I ain't want to talk about Vanessa's hair, and I don't care what his mama looks like. All right. So back at the grants calendar. So February is when most banks are going to reopen their grant portal. All right. That's when they're going to make their new grants available. They will have closed their portals at the end of October because their fiscal year ends in October, but they will open them again in February. All right. That's when you need to be making sure that you're reaching out to those managers and those grant officers to find out what they have available and to become part of their plan. Okay. Now, there are a few banks we already have experience with. The grants that are already in the software. We already have examples of things that have been awarded. Those banks include Wells Fargo. It includes Truist Bank. It includes Bank of America. It includes Bank of America hasn't been approved, but we do have their questions. Wells Fargo, Truist, First Horizon, First Tennessee Bank. And then, of course, you all know credit unions are doing sponsorships, but we have more banks that are coming up, PNC Bank, et cetera, but their portals will open in February. All right. So you want to be ready for that. Then in March, you want to be ready for foundation grants. Okay. In March, you want to be ready for foundation grants. Now, while all this is going on, this is why I gave you the grants calendar so you can look at it. You don't have to keep it all in your brain. While all this is going on, your local community development offices have made their announcement about the grants, and all of them are doing a different cycle. They're going to tell you about them in December and January, and their deadlines are going to be in February and March, because they have to make their decision in April and get it voted on by May in order to have it ready. So all you need to do is be on the newsletter for your community development office. Make sure you're on their newsletter or somehow connected to them by December. Make sure you're connected with them by December. You can do it as early as possible. And you can also, if you wanted to connect with them right now and ask them for a copy of last year's winning proposals, you can do that so you get a head start on everybody else, okay? All right. Cities that are like 100,000 or less people, they're gonna be announcing their stuff in December. But cities that are larger, they take more time, and they're actually announcing their stuff in September and October. So right now, no matter what time, no matter when you're hearing this, reach out to your city and ask them for their community grants cycle, and ask them for a copy of a winning proposal from last year. All right. Now we're at March. March is when foundation grants are available. Over 60% of all grants for a whole country come from foundations. Foundations have received money from people that are privileged, people are means, companies that have created charities in order to give back. Different foundations. Some foundations have been created because of lawsuits that were settled in favor of the people. And so they get a certain amount of tax money that they have to give back every year. There's one foundation called Z. Smith Reynolds that was formed as a result of a tobacco tax because of a lawsuit that happened. And now they give out millions and millions of dollars for the year. There's a program, foundation called Tunnels and Towers that gives out money specifically for buildings. If you want to build or purchase or renovate a building, Tunnels and Towers gives out money for buildings, and I think they're at like 500 million. It's these are just ridiculously large numbers. So if you have a housing program or want to do a community center or something like that, and you either now or in the future want to do a building, another one is Cannon Foundation. Cannon Foundation, they're in North Carolina, and they give money for buildings. Those grants for buildings are called capital grants. All right. And foundations give money for buildings. They give money for staff. They give money for equipment. Foundations are very, very flexible, but you want to make sure that you're reaching out to them to see what grants they have available. And most of the time, when you reach out to a foundation, they're going to have multiple grants. If it's a community foundation, they may have 10 or 20 different grants available throughout the year. All right. But then there are some foundations that just do one grant per year, and those grants come out in March. Okay. Around that same time, February and March, you're going to see a surgence of retail grants. Now, remember, I told you all that there are grants available all year round, but the springtime in the not-for-profit world is considered grant season because there are so many of them. There are so many that you won't be able to apply for them all. So the best thing you can do is to think ahead and plan ahead. And that's why the grants calendar is so important. The foundation are going to make their stuff available. And most of the time, a grant cycle is open for 30 to 45 days. It is rare that a grant cycle is open for 60 days. That's rare. Most of the time, it's open for 30 to 45 days. And if you're not prepared, you'll either have something that's thrown together and not ready, or you won't meet the deadline. Then you have April, which will be when your deadlines are. But May will be the announcement of lots of federal grants. Lots of federal grants will announce in May, and their deadlines will be in late June or early July. They will make their decisions and they'll publicize that their decision will be made by September 1st. A lot of times they're late, but don't let it throw you off. Federal grants are in May. And then you'll see last minute grant opportunities come from your state in June. Your state is trying to spend down money because if they don't use it, they'll lose it. And if you are in position, then you'll be on their list. If you're not in position, then the money will come and it'll go and it'll skip you over. Then you're in August. August, you won't see an announcement of lots of new grants, unless there's something peculiar, some very unique, unaffiliated agency that's giving away money. But August is a great time and also time for you to activate your partnerships with retail stores. Then you go into September. September, you want to make sure that you're connected to your banks, because remember, the banks end their cycles in what month? October. All right. The next thing that's happening is a big event worldwide. It is called Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday is always the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. So what you want to do is make sure that your social media is popping. Videos, pictures, stories, testimonials, the journey of what the year was like, the highs, the lows, the questions, the ins and outs, all of that stuff. You want to make sure that your not-for-profit, whether you use it on your personal site, on your personal page, whether you let it create its own page, but you want to have it on Facebook, all right? Because it's going to be, the world is going to push Giving Tuesday. And most nonprofits are old and they're led by older people that might not be into social media, but social media has most of the world's population and they are givers as well. Would your organization be open to receiving $5, $10, $20 from 1,000 different people? So you want to be available for that. All right. So Giving Tuesday, make sure your socials are all ready to go. Make sure you have a Givelify button. If you don't have Givelify, you can get in touch with Rashida Rocky Lewis. If you just don't want to use Givelify, then make sure that your website is set up according to the instructions that I gave in the Website for Nonprofits course. Your giving button should be at the top of the screen. Your annual budget should be somewhere on a link. You want to have your GuideStar profile rating there. All this is inside of the Websites for Nonprofits class. Okay. Giving Tuesday. Oh, so when you look at the different social media sites, Facebook, people have said, and I actually found it to be true. So Facebook is for like middle-aged people. My kids say that Facebook is for old people, and I guess I'm an old person. Instagram is for young people. So Instagram is picture-driven, right? LinkedIn is where lots of professionals are, and their incomes are 150,000 and up per year. So when you think about people that have the means to give, you want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is as professional as everybody else's. And you have some stories and some blogs that you can put on there, some journals and some testimonials, and make sure your giving button is there because those people are going to be looking as well. All right. So this is your grants calendar. After November, it goes back to end of year giving, which is annual giving, major gifts. So I'm going to go through the months again, just so that you have it. December is major gifts and end of year giving. January is a low month, but you want to reach out to your people and let them know about your whole upcoming year. All of your major activities, invite them to give, whether they want to pledge or give a monthly or etc. February, the banks will open their community giving portals. So you want to be in touch with them already. February will also likely be the deadlines for your community grants. Then you have March. March and April, you'll see foundation grants. In May, you'll see federal grants. In June, you'll see lots of state grants. August, you won't see very many new grants except for newer, unique, or peculiar programs. But in September, you want to get ready because October is going to be the deadline for lots of bank grants. All right. And then October, you want to be preparing for Giving Tuesday. So you want to build up. And if you have not done a great job all year long, you can definitely work with the algorithm starting in October to have 8 good weeks of social media content for your nonprofit. All right. Which takes you from October, 8 weeks into November, which brings you to Giving Tuesday. And then you're back at December, which is what's in December? Annual gifts and major giving. All right. So this is the grants calendar. This is how you plan ahead. Now, y'all, nobody told me this in the beginning. The way I found this out is because I was always a day late and $1 short. I was always reaching out after the deadline. And once I realized that it was a cycle, then I was able to think a year ahead. It's kind of like being a lap ahead of everybody. And that's the advantage that you all have. So think now, what can you do now? What can you take action on right now that's going to put you ahead of everybody else? You can request the copies of winning grants. You can make contact with the grant decision makers. You can get information right now that's going to put you ahead of everybody else, including using the software to download grants that are in there and talking to folks about them ahead of time. There are some organizations that also offer technical assistance. Technical assistance means that you can give them a draft of your grant and talk to them about your idea and get their feedback. Now, they're not going to promise you anything, but you and I both know that sometimes it's not only what you know, it's who you know. So you can do some of those things right now. All right. So what questions do you all have about the grants calendar? Well, if nobody has any questions about the grants calendar, then we'll move on. All right. Send me, are my writers here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give me a copy of the Truist bank, the Truist Foundation grant, the one that was awarded for $50,000. All right. Y'all want to see this one that was awarded for $50,000? All right. This deadline is October 30th or October 31st. Now, whenever you apply for a Truist Bank grant, I think I'm going to do a whole separate training on Truist. What if I did that? What if I did like one training on each grant? It would take a lot, but I think I can do it. All right. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. All right. I'm going to show you all this grant and I'm going to walk through it. Now, I'm going to go through this and what is going on? It's every time I get ready. I don't know what I'm getting a new computer because this computer is so old, but it's been right. You ever had something that works, but it's just old? Like that's how my computer is. I got this computer in 2018 and it works, but it's just I need to hit it upside the head like one of those TVs that you got to hit, but it still work. Like that's how my computer is. All right. So this is the Truist application. They're going to ask you your demographic stuff. They will ask you your website. All right. I always recommend that before you fill out a grant application that you attend their interest meeting and look at their video. Truist Foundation does have a video on their website about the Truist grant. I was there inside the live video. And another thing that you need to know about the Truist Bank grant is that when you apply, you actually sign something saying that if you are awarded, that you will not apply for 3 years. So they encourage you to ask for everything you're going to need for 3 years. All right. That's what they want you to ask for. All right. So they ask for your organizational mission and background. I'll notice they said mission and background, and they gave space to do it. All right. Normally, if an organization asks for just your mission statement, they are expecting just your. If they ask for just your mission statement, then they only want your mission statement. That's this thing right here in red. But if they say mission statement and background, what in the world? Why does this thing say my permission expired? Oh, that's what it is. All right. So when they say mission and background, you'll see I have the mission and then I have the background. In the background, you want to discuss when you started. If you started before you were incorporated, then that time is considered grassroots work. Okay. But I want you to start claiming all of that time. You don't have to lie, but you want to include it. I wrote here, Black Wall Street started in Asheville. Started in 2020 as local people collaborated in response to economic disparities in Asheville. The city had completed an economic disparity study in 2018 that revealed a huge gap in the ecosystem. 2020, Grind LLC received funding from NC Idea Foundation to launch the idea as a program that would enroll 20 Black businesses and go on and go on. All right. Now, I want you to pay close attention. You all see that I included years right here, right? Y'all see that I put these years in there. And I said which entity did which thing. I said in 2020, Grind LLC received funding. I said the economic disparity study happened in 2018. I said Black Wall Street started in 2020. Y'all see that? The thing is, and this is kind of a writing trick. This is a writing trick, but it's not really a trick. It just works with the human psychology. All right. Even though I have said Black Wall Street started in 2020, the economic disparity happened in 2018. NC Idea gave a grant. Grind got the grant in 2020. Your brain is automatically going to associate the oldest year. Do y'all get what I'm saying? It's going to associate your entity with the oldest year. You have not lied. You have not tried to mislead anybody, but you're working with the reader's psychology. Y'all follow what I'm saying? If you started selling lemonade in 2015 in order to feed the homeless, you should put it in there because there is a human that's going to read this. And if they see that you started in 2015, they're going to create a psychological connection with what year do you think? 2015. The fact that you didn't get your paperwork in order until 2018, that's important. You can name that, but it gives them a more well-rounded picture of where you started and when you started. They know that you did not start just when the state corporation commission gave you your articles and your commission seal. They know that you didn't just start when you got your 501c3 approved. You want to let them know, I started this when nobody was giving me money. I started this when it was just out of my pocket. I started this when we had no volunteers and when we had nobody and it was just me and my family volunteering. Okay. So there's a great advantage to them asking for you to give background. Don't take that lightly. The other thing that I include in the background is that NC Idea Foundation already gave us money. This establishes a history of success. A history of success. All right. And then because they gave me space, now I'm going to use up all the space they give me. You are not helping them out by not using the space. If they say 1,500 words, they're not going to let you go over 1,500. And if they do, then it's a trap. If they say 1,500 words, then go to the top of your screen under tools, check how many words it is, and make sure it's 1,500 words. If they say 1,500 characters, then make sure it's characters. And you need to check and make sure it's characters with spaces or characters without spaces. And when they say characters, you look right here at the word this, as 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 characters. But if you count these 2 words, that's the characters, including the space, is actually 10 characters, or not 9 characters. THIS space ONCE. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now you don't have to remember this, but you do have to check it with the computer. So it'll tell you how many characters you have. Characters with spaces, characters without spaces. All right. If they give you space, you need to include everything you can that's going to cause a person to connect with you psychologically, with what you're writing. So this is what I put. In the East Riverside area, that's our neighborhood, we have lost more than 1,000 homes, 6 beauty parlors, 5 barbershops, 5 filling stations, 14 grocery stores, 3 laundromats, 8 apartment houses, 7 churches, 3 shoe shops, 2 auto body shops, 2 cabinet shops, 1 hotel, 5 funeral homes, 1 hospital, and 3 doctor's offices. We aim to revive that. Now, what feeling did that evoke when you heard me read it? Give me a volunteer.
One, that the community is hurting by these businesses not being there too. People have to go outside of their community to shop, which doesn't generate the revenue in the community that is needed. And 3, some people don't have the transportation to go outside of their community to shop. So that is a hindrance on the community itself.
Yep. That's right. So do you see somebody else? Do you have an additional feeling or something you wanted to share? What happens when you hear this, when you read this?
The community is dying out.
Mm-hmm. The community is down out. Now, remember, I told you all, whenever you're writing a grant, you want to be really good at describing the problem. If you describe the problem really well, they will assume that your solution works. But if you don't understand the problem, then you don't know, there's no chance that your solution will work. So don't get hooked on your solution, because your solution might change from year to year, and you have to be flexible enough to course correct and change. But be really, really good at your understanding of the problem. Have a deep understanding of the problem. Okay, y'all? Get a real good understanding of the problem. You also notice here, anybody else want to add? You also notice here that I use digits and I did not use words for numbers. And can you imagine why I use digits? I use the number 6 instead of SIX. I use the digit 8 instead of EIGHT. Why did I do that?
It sticks out more.
It sticks out more. Yes. It gives your eye a break. What else does it do?
Less characters?
That's right. Less characters. What you want is to make an impact. The people that are reading this, they have read a lot of stuff. They're reading yours along with others. Okay? You want yours to be a breath of fresh air. So let's go on. I know this screen is not actually blank. I know it's not. That's just my computer. Well, I hope this screen is not actually blank. All right. Yeah, I'll do another training specifically on this grant because we're running out of time. All right. I want to go over the questions with you. You know what? This is taking way too long. Let me see something. Let me do this just to speed it up. While I'm doing that, anybody have any questions?
So, Coach, I just opened my community center account with Truist Bank. I haven't done anything in the community yet because our grand opening is the last Saturday in this month. So, would it be a good idea to approach them
Yes.
with this grant opportunity?
Yes, absolutely. Your bank account has zero to do with your grant activity.
Okay.
You could do it if you had no account with them. All right. All right, here we go. Describe how the organization's mission drives focus and guides leadership's actions and decision making. Now, Truist is they are intentionally equitable. They are the creation after BB&T was sold and SunTrust was sold, or they merged and created Truist Bank. They even have their own color of deep purple. Great people. And they have done work on making sure that they're equitable. They believe in a leadership model that is very unique. Even though they have a hierarchy, they really try to embrace everybody's perspective, and they will appreciate you doing the same. They want to be with agencies that appreciate this type of leadership. All right. So even if you have a very strict and a very firm and very rigid corporate structure, do you have a feedback loop? Do you have collective decision making? And if it's just you and you're starting out, don't just assume that people know what you're talking about. You can actually say that our process is informed by people that have lived experience. What we're doing is the result of what people said they needed and wanted. If you have a personal experience, you can also include that. But right here, their question is describe how the organization's mission drives focus and guides leadership actions and decisions. The best way to do this is to recognize organization's missions. How does it give focus and guide leadership's actions and decisions? That's 1, give focus. 2, guides. 3, guides actions. 4, guides decisions. So in your writing, you need to have at least three words: focus, guides, at least these 4 words: focus, guides, actions, and decisions. You want them to easily see what's going on here. So we write the sentence, and this is your pre-framing. Our mission was born out of, number 1, recognizing a service gap. Number 2, respond to that with a practical solution. This is also what drives our program model. Black Wall Street's leaders took guidance. Do y'all see that? From 3 key documents: our economic disparity report, the State of Black Asheville Research Project, the AEO Tapestry Report. Then I go on and say, with these 3 documents in mind, we co-created an approach to BIPOC businesses to develop and support. We knew that it had to be culturally responsive in order to really meet the needs of Black and brown business owners. Thus, we created. Do you see how I'm connecting stuff? Because this document said that, we talked to these people and then we created, number 1, a cohort model. Number 2, a network of support. Number 3, economic drivers. Number 4, technical assistance. You'll notice that I use bold and capital. I also use underlines in order to quickly identify. So if somebody was reading this, let me kind of zoom in. If somebody was reading this, they can see these four major things. What four things do I want them to see and pay close attention to?
The four key factors, the four key factors that you have there, which is the
Yep.
cohort, the network, economic drivers, and the assistance.
And technical assistance. Absolutely. So I'm drawing their attention to it. So even if they get tired of reading, I've used these little linguistic tricks, these language arts tricks, these writing tricks to draw their eyeball and thus their attention to these certain parts. I hope they read the whole thing, but if they don't, I have marked this in such a way that it's going to imprint their brain. All right. This specific grant request is a result of Ecosystem Hub Partners monthly meeting where 5 different partner agencies agreed that we need an entrepreneurial navigator to provide information and referrals to entrepreneurs in WNC. Together, they agreed that this position would be housed with Black Wall Street ABL. What does that paragraph tell you? All right. It tells you that there are 5 different agencies that work together. That's partnership. People do not want to give grants to agencies that work alone. So you want to get good at talking about your partners. How does your organization define and measure impact? Again, quantitative evaluation and qualitative evaluation. This is where you list your outcomes. Well, list how you reach your outcomes, rather. As for the list of board members, I include that there. Most of the time, it's going to ask for your board member's name and address. I avoid using people's personal addresses just because. So you can use their name and their professional address. If they work at a college campus, you put their name, the name of the college, and the address of the college. You don't need to put their home address because this stuff, once sent out, is no longer yours. Sometimes when grants are submitted, they're public information. Everybody don't want to know where everybody live. No, everybody don't want people to know where they live, and all types of other things. So assume that they mean the name, the place that they work, and their address. If it allows you to write their title, then go ahead. Sometimes it's really good to write their title, but the most important thing is to make sure that you, number one, have a board and that that you have their information. All right. And this is the grant request title: Black Wall Street, 10,000 Connections for an Inclusive Ecosystem for BIPOC Businesses in Western North Carolina. I use this same title for multiple grants. And what that does, that helps me leverage or stack grants one on top of the other. Just last week, we were awarded a $10,000 grant from the Chamber of Commerce. Because it has the same name, it's the same program, 10,000 Connections. Our other program is called Black Wall Street Junior. And our third program is the Entrepreneurial Navigator. All right. Do y'all see something familiar here? I'm always talking about it, always preaching it, hollering it. Do y'all see something familiar? Don't nobody see nothing familiar?
Yes, sir.
What do you see that's familiar?
That's statement of need.
That's right, statement of need. Now, right here, they say, please use bullets as appropriate. So I separated it in paragraphs, but that's just because I had already written it this way. So this is where you describe the problem. And look at it. I'll read this one. Black people have an average median income of less than $26,000 a year, and white people make more than $44,000 a year. That was back then. This year, the study shows that all of the income went up. It actually went up where Black people average median income is 29,000 and white people's is 69,000. What's the problem with that picture?
Technically, nothing changed, Coach, because the Black people, their income is still tremendously lower than the whites.
Absolutely. And it just got worse.
Exactly.
So what do you think I'm going to do?
You're going to show it got worse. Because if it's just, because you're saying that the Black was 20, it's increased to 29, it only increased $3,000 compared, $3,000 only compared to from a 44K to a 69K.
That's exactly right.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
Wow.
It isn't. Matter of fact, it's in a it's in one of our recent grant applications. All right. So you know what? That's why I did this. I should have, man. Y'all see now, this is something, and it happens. I requested money for 1 year, but what's the problem with that? What mistake did I make here?
It was supposed to be for 3 years.
3 years.
That's right. That's right. All right.
Did you put your funding in for 3 years, or is your funding for 1 year also?
It was only for 1 year. Yeah, but I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna talk to them. They're my friends. I probably shouldn't have said that on camera. That's a shame. I gotta get better at this, y'all. Matter of fact, Mark, we just gonna edit that out, okay?
No problem, sir. We'll delete that out.
All right. Will this request support one or more of the following? You want to choose one. If you choose, now keep this in mind, y'all, you run the risk. When you choose more than one thing, sometimes it works for you, sometimes it works against you. So it's just totally up to you. We have a business incubator. All right. We do serve minorities serving institutions. We do serve innovation centers and et cetera, et cetera. But we intend to dominate a certain industry, and that is to be the region's leading Black business incubator. And so that's how I want to be known. All right. And that's why I chose that one only. With strategic program areas, access to capital, small business ecosystem, technical support, education, network access. You see, I'm using this technical support. I keep repeating it. Here, they ask for your organization and collaborations. So I name my partners and I number them. Why do you think I number them? What am I doing?
Showing how many partnering agencies are with you.
That's right. If they don't remember all these names, what will they remember?
How many it was.
That's right. I don't want them to forget. I'm inserting thoughts in their brain using my writing. Please provide a detailed breakdown of how you propose you would use the requested funds. So I asked for $30,000 for the navigator and $25,000 for an online portal, $50,000 for marketing, a website for $15,000, food truck for
Did we just lose Coach?
Yep, looks like he got disconnected. Okay, just give me 1 second. I'll follow up with him.
Okay.
All right, y'all. I'm sorry. I I didn't have it plugged up. I told y'all my little computer is special. But are y'all still here?
Oh yeah.
We still here.
Okay. All right. So I won't be able to share the document, but tell me what questions y'all have so far. Um, I'll take about 10 minutes of questions.
Okay, Coach. Being that I'm just starting the community center, how would I approach them as far as the grant writing part?
Claim all of the years that you were a grassroots agency.
Okay.
Any work that you did before you had a building, any work that you did, you and your friends got together and did it. Like the idea that you have, it did not just pop out the sky. You might have just structured it officially, but
Mm-hmm.
you can, like, if you were doing things and testing out things for a year or two, then you can say, as a community of concerned citizens, we've been talking and serving the people of our community unofficially since 2019. We have
So
done this.
I haven't done
Hmm?
anything in the community. When I came home and I just took a look at the community and saw there was no store there anymore. Like everything that used to be there is not there anymore. And
Uh-huh.
that's how I began to birth the community center. So, I mean,
All
I've
right.
talked with different individuals, but I haven't done anything physically in the community just
Mhm.
yet.
When did you start talking with them?
It's been about a year and a half. I started talking with
All right.
them. That's when I
So
realized what was
this
needed.
is something very important. I'm so glad you brought this up. Talking with individuals in the grant world is not just talking to individuals. That's called surveying the local community. In fact, there are grants called planning grants that
Mhm.
will give you money right now to just go around and talk to people and find out what the problems are, what they think about it, et cetera, and what can be done.
Got
So
it.
if you were writing this, I would say about 1 year and a half ago, whatever that year is, about a year and a half ago, I was concerned about such and such. And I started to survey the community and get local information and data. And just to make sure that they don't, and Truist is really, really good about this, but some organizations are not as woke as Truist. Um, you might have to insert a sentence that says, local community perspective is just as important as college educated perspectives. You want to say something like that. As an organization, we respect the position and ideas of local citizens just as much as we do government officials. Something to that effect. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
What you want to be able to do is to honestly, there's never reason to lie. You want to be able to honestly insert a year that you
Mhm.
started doing something. And
Okay.
there's a way to describe what you've been doing. If you started talking to people, that's local research. That's local community citizens' opinion. All right. Did that help you out?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Got it.
Next.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Coach, I gotta say something. Coach, I've been having an issue. We're having the event. We pushed the launch party back to December 9th.
Mhm.
I'm having an issue with understanding how to get the sponsorships to fund some of that because some of the
You
proceeds will go to Amari's Foundation.
you have to just do it. You just have to pull the trigger. Um, and for you, I think we are working on your press release. So
Mm-hmm.
inside of everything related to your December event, you want to say a portion of proceeds, if some of the proceeds go to support Amari's Foundation, or if all of them, whatever is the true statement, proceeds go to support Amari's Foundation. You might want to tell them, for $1,000, you get to support this many families. $500 will do this. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay.
And let all your influencer friends, like you were just down there with Mama D, so she can send it out. In addition to making a donation, she can send it out to all her friends, with Love and Hip Hop, other people that have influence, the sports team, etc. They would give if they just knew why they were giving and what you want them to give.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. I would also reach out to Coca-Cola Foundation. They do sponsorships as well as Publix. And they need an 8-week lead time. So go ahead and reach out to them as well. All right.
Thanks.
All right, no problem. Next question. We have 3 more minutes.
Coach, do you think I have time to put out sponsorships? I'm October 28th is my launch date. That's pushing
every little bit helps. I would go ahead and put it out because it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you any. Getting sponsorship does not cost you any money. It costs you some time. And at the very least, somebody might have a long process and they can start now to give next year. If you send out the mass email and really push it, you can get people that'll give now, that'll give later, people that will tell you about their grant cycle, people that will volunteer. It will not hurt you at all.
Got it.
All right. And really reach out to the banks because they can approve something and not even go through a bunch of red tape. All right. 2 more minutes.
I'm sorry. I'm going to the bank's branch managers, correct?
Yes, you're going to talk to the branch manager, but you need the grants person. So the branch manager, sometimes they may or may not have access to the community budget, but whoever is over the foundation definitely does. So you're going to have to reach out to both. Well, not have to, but you're going to want to. All right. Next. Last question.
Oh yeah, were you able to go with the email I sent you over the weekend?
No, I haven't finished yet.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Well, that wasn't well, I guess that wasn't everybody question. That was just for me. All right, everybody good? Well, thank you all. And if anything comes up, just reach out. I will see y'all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. All right, bye-bye.